Hey, this is Cam, and we're coming back, and I'm visiting today with Todd Tibbits, who's the CEO of the YMCA of Greater Charlotte. I guess that's the name. Everybody's got different names today. So tell it, what is your title in the name of the Y?
Hey, Cam. I'm Todd Tibbits. I'm the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Charlotte.
That's great. That's good. Tell us a little bit about your family, personal life.
I have a wonderful wife named Denise. I met her at the YMCA in 1992. I married a single mom. So I met her at the YMCA and I married her in 2000. I have two great older kids. One is in California, married with our first granddaughter. And then Leandra is her name. And then my oldest daughter, Candace, is married and lives in Michigan with her husband, Ryan. And then my wife, Denise, and our youngest daughter, Ellie, live here in Charlotte.
How's Ellie?
Ellie is 12 years old.
Wow.
So we have a 12, a 28, and a 34-year-old.
That's great. How long have you been in Charlotte now?
Just over 4 years.
So are you a Southerner?
Oh, that's a loaded question, isn't it?
Well, here's the litmus.
You tell me, Cam.
Like sweet tea, and do you eat grits?
Well, I love grits.
That's good.
Yeah, I love grits. I haven't. My daughter drinks sweet tea, but no, I drink. That was a tough lesson for me to learn. That's like can be like a 5-minute conversation with a waitress, because what I've learned to say is unsweet tea with no sugar and lemon. Otherwise, it becomes this conversation because you go through all the different things that you have to get cleared up.
So one of the things that Todd and I bonded over was we found that we both liked bourbon, and at one of our meetings. So Todd, so that was part of the thing tonight is what are you drinking? What kind of bourbon are you drinking tonight?
Well, tonight I brought out my Maker's Mark 46. I'm a bit embarrassed because I have the Peasant's Ice Cubes here, Cam. I do not have, because Cam actually hooked me up. He made my day one day when I got this package from Cam with it was a special bourbon ice cubes, big blocks.
The big ice cubes, yeah.
I have not figured out how to do the circles yet, or the big balls.
It takes practice, but you can get there. I'm drinking Russell's Reserve. I went and bought that special. There was a documentary, and I shared it with you the other night, and it said, drink it with friends. So I thought I would open it tonight and take a little drink, and I'm gonna sip mine tonight because I didn't put ice in it. I'm gonna sip it, but we bonded over bourbon a little bit. Tell us, when did your Y story begin?
So I grew up. My dad was a Christian camp director, so I grew up on a camp, but I grew up in an area where there really wasn't a big area, so there wasn't a Y. So my first Y experience was as a professional. I was actually a school teacher at Lansing Christian Schools, taught there for about a year. And then I hooked up with the YMCA in 1992 as a youth program director in Lansing, Michigan, and just fell in love with the YMCA, all the aspects of the Y, from the little children and the babies to the parents to the families to the seniors. But my first job was youth and family, ran a day camp, I drove the bus. Found out that on my first day when I worked, my executive director said, yeah, you got to go get your CDL. And I asked what a CDL was. And so I got my commercial driver's license, and I became a teen director. And I would say my first love as a YMCA staff person was teens. And that would still be true today.
Yeah, that's great. Do you feel the Y is a calling to you? And when did you feel that in your career?
Yeah, that's a great question. I go way back into probably the mid 90s. The church I went to, the pastor, his name was Pastor Dan. And I remember telling Dan, I apologized to him one day when I was with him because I wasn't making it to Wednesday night services because I was at the Y. And I said, Pastor Dan, I'm so sorry, I'm not making it. And he stopped me in my tracks. And it was probably one of the most influential moments in my Y career. And I'm so thankful it was early. He said, Todd, never apologize again. You're in ministry. So I've looked from that day, and I was still in my 20s at that point, and I've looked at my role in the YMCA as ministry. And what a blessing it is to be able to work for an organization that does what we do and know the impact we have. So I would say probably in my mid-20s is when I really looked at this as ministry and not an occupation, but more of a ministry.
Yeah, that's great. So do you have one that you'd consider, or who are a couple of your YMCA mentors?
Yeah, so I have to start with my foundation, and that's my dad. He was this camp director for years, doesn't have a college degree, but he had the ability to build relationships, and through that, he received he's to this day, he's the single. He has the single largest one-time gift of anybody that I personally know is $12 million. And his camp was about $1.5 million in total budget. So just an incredible individual who could lead with vision and then build relationships. But within the Y, Robert Alexander. Robert was the CEO of the Toledo, Ohio YMCA when I went to Toledo back in 1999. And he became, until he died, unfortunately, last summer, he's still my top mentor. And he became an incredible friend. Him and his wife, Stephanie, were close and are still close, very personal friends. But Robert taught me so many lessons of how to hopefully treat people, how to lead a Y with passion, taught me some things of what not to do that I've learned from. But Robert Alexander, whenever I talk about him, I can't help but smile for the lessons he's taught me.
That's great. But one of the goals that I have in just kind of creating these little chats and doing this is really just to encourage our peers. And, the socialization, for me at least, my best friends are you guys, my peers, the Y movement, maybe a little nerdy in that. But we've discussed this. This is the craziest, most stressful time that I've ever been a part of in a long career. So not just today, but how do you handle stress in general?
Yeah, you're talking about aside from bourbon, right? Not including bourbon?
Yeah, we're not advocating to drink the stress away.
Okay, that's what I was after. Yeah, so, I remember, Cam, last week when the governor extended the order, another 30 days, it would hit me like a ton of bricks because I knew our buildings were going to be closed longer, and I knew the magnitude of that, and I knew how much it was going to impact the people. And I also remember when I was CEO in Toledo during the recession, nothing hurt more than letting good people go. That we just didn't have the money to do that. So that is, we're an organization that we serve people through our people, and when we're disconnecting people from our body, it just is painful in so many ways. So that's the stress that I carry and I carry home. But when I think about that and how do you deal with that, it's to be honest, it's really hard. And when I think about it, I think about the vision and the strategy our Y has just put into place. And one thing we were really intentional about is as we ripple out and try to get more complex, in those times we have to find simplicity. And for us, that goes back to our core, and it's our Christian mission. Yeah. So I was going to say I took it off. I don't know where I put it. Oh, right here. It's a bracelet that I wear, and it has Joshua 1:9 on it. And what Joshua 1:9 says is, "Haven't I not commanded you? do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So in times like this, I hold up tight, really tight, to my relationship with God and my faith. And that is the center and that is the focus. Our team, what I love about the YMCA of Greater Charlotte, it's not only allowed, it's expected that the Christian faith and the Christian mission lives and breathes in the organization. So we pray, it's just been culture. We pray all the time before meetings, but now it's taken on a whole new meaning where when we pray at the beginning of meetings, sometimes at the end of the meetings, just because we know this is bigger than us. We also know this didn't surprise God. It caught us by surprise, put us on our heels.
That's a great point.
It really put us on our heels. I was talking to our Kim Conroy, our executive director at Camp Thunderbird today. We've just started a partnership that Mecklenburg County allowed us to do. We brought out some individuals from the Charlotte Rescue Mission out to Camp Thunderbird because they've been quarantined there for a few weeks and they're going through, they're addicted. And they've been going through their 60-day recovery program. So if they leave, they're literally back on the streets. So we were able to bring them out to camp today. And, when I was talking to one of the donors that's helping us do that, I said, you know what? We didn't see this coming. God did. We're just trying to catch up to him as far as, so, how do I deal with stress? That for me is number one. I wish it didn't take, these kind of things to draw us closer to God sometimes, but in reality, I guess that's part of human nature, but that's also the silver lining is that, hopefully it brings many of us closer to God and through that brings us closer together.
Yeah. How do you, with your family and a 12-year-old daughter, how do you not carry the stress at home and worry her, or does she see it? What's your interaction? I mean, so share with, again, how you manage not the right, parent your daughter to relieve maybe the stress and pressures on her.
Yeah, I have no idea, when you think about it, we didn't experience this. We have kids that are not going to school maybe for the rest of the school year, and they're doing this distance learning, and it's just got us all swirling, and I'm thinking of that through the lens of a 12-year-old. So, for instance, tonight I came home, and you know what it's like. I was exhausted. We have some of our Ys opened as childcare sites, so I was at the Dowd Y today, and I came home about 6:00 tonight, and emotionally whipped, physically whipped. And I walk in the door, and she's been cooped up in the house all day long for the last few weeks, and she's like, "Dad, let's go, get changed. We're going outside in the driveway. We're going to play."
That's good for you. That's good for you.
So it really is. So the last thing I wanted to do is go out in my driveway and practice volleyball. But that's what we've been doing the last few days, and it is good for me. And what was going through my mind, Cam, yesterday was she's in 7th grade, and she still wants to do that.
Yeah.
So even though it is really good, it's good for me physically and emotionally. I know it's great when all I want to do is just go sit in the chair and just kind of decompress a little bit. But that spending some time with my daughter is that is the medicine that I need. My wife and my daughter have always been very supportive. I know I work too hard and I work too much, and they're right in it with me with the YMCA.
So let me ask you, how do you share with your wife what's going on? Does she want to hear that, or is it, let's just talk about everything else in the world but the Y?
Yeah, a bit unique. My wife actually still is a Y employee. She now teaches just a couple hours a week in fitness, but she's been part of the YMCA and in the retirement fund longer than me. So she gets the Y, and she was a Y professional for a lot of years, up until about when our daughter was born. But Yeah. So we were talking tonight about the Charlotte Rescue Mission, and what happened at Thunderbird today, and some of the challenges we've had. And we have two entrances to our house, through the garage and the front door. She's got a Purell, a hand sanitizer at each, and because they're both here at home all the time, she said, "You're the one with cooties. You have to, before you can come in, you have to sanitize yourself." So yeah, it's very supportive. They're both so very supportive.
That's great. Well, that's important. And I'm just proud to know you, and you've just fit right into our group, and love that you're another strong faith-based leader, especially of one of the largest Ys in America. We need that in our movement, and you've been a great voice for that. And I just appreciate your role in our state and helping smaller Ys and other Ys, and just appreciate your leadership too.
Well, thanks, Cam. I appreciate your friendship and welcoming me to North Carolina. And one thing is for sure, we're going to have these relationships and partnership even more in the future. I think that's clear to all of us.
Yeah, I was on the phone with Atrium all afternoon, or this afternoon, kind of planning hours and knowing that we'd communicated about working with their employees too. So.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. If we can help, let me know, because we're off and running. We had between Atrium and Avon, about 75 today across the different centers.
We're going to kick ours off Monday, so we're excited.
Good.
Yeah, we've got the grocery stores and law enforcement, et cetera, coming in. But hey, I appreciate our friendship and drinking our bourbon. Share a text every now and then with you, but I'll continue to pray for you and your leadership. And then, and I just appreciate you being in this battle with us every day.
Likewise, Cam. Thanks, brother.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye.